country was built by steel workers such as those joining us here today, or I'm joining them.
When Trump unleashed a brutal 50% tariff on Canadian steel, the damage was instant. Exports collapsed, factories went silent, and workers feared for their futures. But instead of shouting back, Prime Minister Mark Carney did something no one saw coming. He quietly rewrote Canada's economic playbook. No drama, no threats, just one bold move after another. Tariff shields, billion-dollar investments, steel made in Canada, for Canada. This isn't retaliation, it's a reinvention. And now, Trump's chaos has sparked something powerful. A Canadian economic awakening that's leaving Washington stunned. For decades, Canada relied heavily on U.S. markets for its steel exports. Over 90% flowed south across the border. And when Trump suddenly imposed a crushing 50% tariff on Canadian steel, it felt like betrayal. Almost overnight, contracts evaporated. Layoffs hit. One of the most tightly woven cross-border industries unraveled in real time. But this time, Ottawa didn't panic. Prime Minister Mark Carney didn't tweet. He didn't threaten counterattacks. Instead, he unveiled a bold and calculated plan. One that signaled a massive shift in Canada's economic identity. Step 1. Close the floodgates. Canada had long been the world's most open steel market, importing nearly 2/3 of the steel it consumed. That era is over. Under Carney's new plan, strict tariff-rate quotas are now in place. For countries without free trade agreements, imports are capped at 50% of their 2024 volumes. Anything beyond that? A brutal Otven Sazalekos tariff. Even FTA partners get no free pass. Their cap sits at 100%, with the same tariff kicking in if they overstep. And for Chinese-origin steel, the message is even clearer. If your product contains steel melted and poured in China, you're paying extra, no matter where it's finished. But this isn't just about insulation. It's about investment. Carney isn't just protecting the steel industry, he's modernizing it. A $1 billion fund has been unleashed to help Canadian steelmakers upgrade their equipment, build higher-value products, and fill the gaps left by broken U.S. contracts. And it doesn't stop there. To directly support workers affected by the downturn, $70 million is being injected into training programs and income assistance, helping up to 10,000 employees rebuild their careers. An additional $150 million is being funneled into steel-producing communities, breathing life into towns that once depended on U.S. trade. Mid-sized companies are also getting a boost. New loans are more accessible, interest rates are slashed, and repayment terms are extended. A quiet but crucial move to keep Canadian manufacturing alive. But perhaps the most transformational policy? Federal procurement reform. From now on, if a contractor wants to build bridges, shipyards, or defense infrastructure with government funds, they'll have to use Canadian steel. Period. No loopholes, no exceptions. In one stroke, Carney turned Canada's vulnerability into strength. Meanwhile, Trump keeps escalating. A fresh 50% tariff on copper, another vital Canadian export, is set to hit August 1st. It's a direct threat to a $9 billion industry, with over half of it depending on U.S. buyers. Yet Canada hasn't shouted. It's watching, calculating. Ambassador Kirsten Hillman is in Washington, negotiating quietly. The goal? A carve-out for Canadian copper before the tariff hits. And while Trump rants on social media, Canada is building quiet alliances with Europe, with Asia, with anyone willing to trade on stable terms. Carney recently signed a landmark deal with the European Union, not just on trade, but on industrial coordination and strategic investment. Industry Minister Melanie Joly is accelerating ratification across Europe while carving out new global supply chains, not in reaction to Trump, but as a replacement for him. Canada's message is clear. We will not be hostage to America's chaos. Veteran U.S. trade leaders, even Trump's own allies, are sounding the alarm. Carla Hills, the former U.S. NAFTA negotiator, called Trump's moves a self-inflicted wound. She compared it to shooting your sibling in the heart. Because this isn't just a tariff war. It's the unraveling of decades of North American cooperation. And Canada? It's not waiting around anymore. The steel industry may have been the first to feel the pain. But thanks to Carney's bold plan, it's also the first to fight back. With policy, with purpose, and with pride. This is Canada's economic awakening. And Trump? He may have just triggered the very independence he feared the most. This isn't just about steel, it's about sovereignty. If you believe in economic justice, smart leadership, and standing strong without shouting loudly, share this story. Let the world see how Canada turned a trade war into a blueprint for resilience. Like, comment, and subscribe for more stories where diplomacy defeats chaos and strategy silences noise. Canada didn't retaliate, it reinvented.